Welcome back. I thought we were done with this little project, but I started it up. I was going to put it up on the trailer and I heard a noise. Listen closely. Remember, we had a belt squeal. I don't know if you can hear that. I want to shut it off quickly and show you. I used our famous hood prop here because this cylinder doesn't want to stay up. I guess I could snap vice grips right here. I just don't want to damage the rod. So the belt squeal. So let me take this side panel off. Show you what's going on here. A little more serious. So I got out it was a 12 millimeter to tighten the belt. And I loosened it back up again. If you can see the fan here. Can you see that fan move? Had me worried. When I tightened the belt up and started it up, it screamed. It was rattling like crazy. Watch this. Here we can see down here. Check that out. Water pump's ready to explode. I don't think I've ever seen one this bad. Now it's probably leading to our belt fraying and everything. This fan's ready to let go and go through the radiator. So, we need a water pump. What we got here is a bypass hose. The temperature sending unit's up here. We got a shroud, 10 millimeter. That'll go backwards. It's not a split one, so I guess we got to go backward to reach a fan belt. Otherwise, we got to pull the radiator. In front of the radiator's a screen with an enclosure, and then the cooler in front of that, then the battery. And I don't want to take all that off, even though if you do that, you can do a nicer looking job. You can see everything you're doing. But to mount the radiator, let's see what's involved in that. We got a lower radiator hose. We got a positive cable, goes to the starter. I don't know. Oh, that's the hood bracket right here. There's a big bolt right here, mounts for this whole front plate. It looks like it'll be easier to take off just the fan shroud. Over here we got 1, 2, 3. Let's see where they go. Looks like power steering lines. I don't know why 3 of them. There's 1, 2, there's 3 of them. And then, down in here looks like a couple bolts for the water pump. And 2 10 mil. So I think all we have to do is probably take this intake off, the inlet. Here's a bracket, probably can stay on. This bracket holds the shroud, so we got to take that bracket off. And then we'll move the shroud backwards, and we can only go back 1.5 inches on this side because the power steering reservoir is right here. And then see if I can get to the fan bolts. There should be 4 of them. And then we can take the belt, the fan, loosen that alternator up. And maybe I could see enough to do it without tearing this whole thing apart. So I ordered a new belt. If that's the correct number or not, that's what it came in as. 1/2 inch by 38 inch. And I ordered a new, not a reman, but a new water pump. And what else is in here? A gasket. And this is held on. Let's see, there's a bracket bolts. 2, 4, 5, 3 on that side, 4 on this side. Looks like those 2 are for a bracket. and then it mounts going this way. So this looks pretty simple, guys. They're calling for high winds, hail, and 94% chance of rain over ½ an inch tomorrow. So put this in the carport and I'll get started on it. I got lucky. I raised the bucket up till it almost touched the rafters, and beneath it I got about 80 inches and I found a board. So I got a safety. That should be fine. What I need to start on, I guess, is drain the antifreeze. It'll probably take a little bit. The lowest point is down here, and it had a spout on it. As you can see, this hose is kind of shot. Look at that. But that's alright because this has a valve on it. So I'll replace this hose. Can't believe that's all rotted away. That's kind of strange. But I'll get a bucket under here and catch it. I got a bucket under there. I'll start by turning this. If it will, it's plastic. There we go. Yeah, it's going to make a little mess because it's dumping on the power steering. Just can't help that. I was going to slide a hose on it, but I couldn't get the rest of that hose off. So we'll let this go. I'll loosen up the radiator cap. It's actually pretty clean. That's a shame. Not going to catch all of it. And then I'm going to start taking the shroud off. So that's 10 millimeter. And while she's draining, I took off the other two shroud bolts on this side and a 12 millimeter bolt for the alternator. I want to loosen that up so that I can get the belt off. That should be just about right. Almost. See, if I took the loader off this, I could get in a lot closer. But who wants to do that, right? Let's see if that's loose enough. Belt's pretty loose now. Now the shroud. We want to see. Let's see what we got. Move you over here a little bit. Hard to get in here, you know. Move our light up too. Alright, this shroud, oh, it has a bolt up here. Looks like it's 13 anyway. I think I've only got a 12 on me, right? Yeah, it's a 13 or 14. And then I'll loosen that, I'll drag it off. Let's see what we got here. 13. Ugh. Pretty tight. See if there's a nut underneath it. Don't look at this air cleaner thing. I should get that off. This air snorkel. That's just a screwdriver. Alright, so get this bracket out. That's got a washer on it. So now this is loose. Getting blinded by the light here. Get my screwdriver and we'll loosen up. Get in a better position here. Loosen up this clamp. Take this snorkel out of the way. Catching most of that antifreeze. Running down the frame a little bit. I'm excited. Water pump came 2 days earlier than it said. I got it from FridayParts.com. Not a sponsor. It's a double hose. We'll put this aside. Now, to get that shroud out, I probably got to take that bracket completely off, because that'll just go back. Then I won't be able to lift it up out of there. So I got to get my projects out of the garage so I can get in the garage. Then I can close the door. We don't have to worry about weather or mosquitoes or anything else, you know. This is 12. We need a 13. It's a 14. And we can have our toolbox within reach, you know. 10. What are we missing here? 12, 14. Where's the 13? Oh, there it is. Ugh. Yeah, I'm kind of tired. I fixed the garage door today for a customer. The sensors were the problem, so I put new sensors on. Got the garage door to close. I mowed lawn. Early morning I worked on this. See, now I can just swivel this over out of the way. And then that's got a nice, what do you call it, welded in nut here. So this, I don't think there's any more hardware on it, but there. See, that's not going to help me a lot. Look how loose that fan is. How hard is it to get this radiator out of here? We got the lower radiator hose, the upper radiator hose, and what holds it in there? We got a bracket here, 2 10s. We could probably take the oil cooler and just pull it forward. And then we got 2 10s down here, which go into the radiator just for the hood support, so that can stay. There's 2 big bolts underneath here. Don't tell me it's only got 2 bolts. That would be handy. I guess then I could do a better job if I could get, I have to get this light situated here. If I could get the radiator out of here, I could do a nicer job because I could see what I'm doing. Let me try it. Sometimes it's not shortcut, not removing everything, because then you can't see what you're doing. You can't get your gasket in there right. You're guessing on some stuff. If I can see it. Ugh. That don't sound too good. This clamp's worn. I gotta buy a clamp, it's not a big deal. Yeah, the whole screw's coming out. Take the whole screw out then. I like this Ryobi light. It's a hybrid, so 18 volt or electric. Carport don't have any lights in here, just solar lights. Motion lights, and I should put a few bulbs in here. Okay, there's upper clamp. I'll get that off without harming anything. We get the radiator out, we can see what condition it's in. I've never had it out. 2,600 hours and 23 years old. Had good luck with it. But keep your antifreeze clean, you know. I test it every winter. I've changed it. I've actually put a new thermostat in this. Probably 12 years ago, I think. The temperature wasn't getting real warm. The temperature gauge. So I got a thermostat and put in it. Okay, get that back. Now, what can we do? Get the light out of my eye. So we got lower radiator hoses on this side. See, there's not enough room to get a ratchet in there. So I guess I gotta pull this out. So what I'll do is I'll disconnect these two 10 millimeters for the cooler on this side, these two on this side, and then there's one down here. So then we can pull that apart. Okay, there's two 15 millimeter bolts that go up through the bottom, and it's a great big bolt with a shoulder on it. And that looks like the upper hose, the lower hose, the drain hose, the front screen, the transmission cooler, and it looks like the radiator can come right straight up out. I shouldn't say right straight up out because we got that little hose to deal with. But I disconnected it over here. And if I can fish it up out of there, this will give me a huge amount of room. Well, it looks like there's more hook to it. So over here we got the battery cable, positive, there we go. That was just a grommet. And then over here we got the negative battery cable and the grommet. Okay, that's good. Now what happens? Nothing. Look at that. We gotta be careful not to dent any fins. I'm gonna lose a little antifreeze. Look at that. I'll bring you over and take a look at this radiator. Don't look too bad for 23 years old. 2,600 hours. There's no fins bent. A little bit of grease in the bottom, which is good. And the front looks really good because it has that screen that goes over it. Pretty happy with that. I'll probably wash it up and paint it. Now, the only thing really in the way is this transmission cooler to get a direct view. But I don't know if we need a direct view. Check that out. So we got the shroud. That can come right out. And I'll just set it up here. And then we got, look at that water pump. You see if I can get that belt off in there. I don't know if you can see that. Probably got to get you back a little bit. The look at that. That thing could have let loose and went right up in the radiator. I'm trying to get this belt off without loosening up the bottom two bolts. Sometimes I get on the pulley like that, just rotate it. I should do it. And then we take the belt off. See what condition that's in. Goes around the crank, the water pump, and the alternator. This is one of the cog belts. I don't remember if I put a new one on it. I think I did, but can't remember. Looks like a Gates, but it's got a couple cracks in it. Nothing major, but it was noisy. If you remember, it was kind of squealing. So that's what drew my attention to this. Because the engine's a diesel, I didn't hear that. But when I tighten the belt up, now the water pump works, comes out faster. These look like 10 millimeter on the front. I don't know if I can do everything with a wrench here. Not quite, probably. Probably get a ratchet. I'll get a 10 millimeter socket. See, if I was smarter, I would have left that belt on for a second. That would have gave me a little more tension. But I should be able to get these loose. Maybe. Maybe not. Take that extension off. They're pretty tight. Tight to tight. So let me get a different bite in here so I don't take off my knuckles. Hang on to our blades. There we go. Break steel here. So we'll get these 4 fan bolts out. Take this fan off. They might be in with Loctite, I don't know. I gotta see if I still have Loctite. I haven't used it in a while. Feels like it's Loctite because they're not getting any looser. How come I didn't get Loctite? I want to use that on like caliper bolts and things like that. Anything where you want it to stay on. All right, let's see what it looks like. It doesn't look like Loctite. It looks like it goes through. There's a little corrosion on the back edge. So, not a big deal. I'll probably look up the torque specs on this stuff. Would imagine the water pump's not very much, and you got a 10 millimeter head bolt. You're not cranking on them. So I'll finish taking this off, and then we'll get to the water pump. All right, I got the fan off, and there's a spacer on the back here. Well, the light's not the greatest because there's no hook here to hang it, but it's got this aluminum spacer block on the back, 4 bolts. Put that down here, and then we got this pulley. Fits on. Ooh, look at the corrosion inside of that. She's been leaking a while. I think I'll have to clean that up. Let's see if we can get a good view of that. That's a thick chunk in there. And right here is a weep hole. See it running down this hose. I had to add a cup of antifreeze a while back, and I looked around and I couldn't see it. So it's probably coming down through here and maybe getting on the frame, that kind of thing. We got a bypass hose here. See if I can hang this light up somehow here. Anything to hang it on? Something to get us a better view. We got a bypass hose right here. Remember, this is, oh, what happened? This is 23 years old, so let's see if things will turn, you know. Heat up, cool down 50,000 times. Let me get some WD on it. And that'll help it. Maybe. Down below is a nut. I better take a picture of that setup because we got different length bolts by the looks. Get a little goober on that. I'll do both sides in case I got to take the whole thing off in there. I better take a picture of that so I know the orientation. And over on this side, these bolts are on the back side. We got this hose clamp, this bypass hose, which is like a woven hose. We got a big bolt here. That's the alternator bracket. Got to take that out. And then 2 more bolts below it, 10 millimeter. So I see 3 on this side, plus a nut is 4. And then 1, 2, 3 on this side, plus the alternator bolt. But I want to get that hose off first. That's the worst water pump I've ever seen. I think if it was a gasoline engine being a little quieter, I probably would have heard that. But, ooh, something's turning. Wow. These are pretty nice clamps. But I don't know if I can get the hose off without damaging it. Sometimes, like if it was a customer's tractor I was working on, because I do all kinds of stuff, you know. I probably would have ordered the bypass hose automatically and the lower radiator hose, because that's the kind of stuff that you have problems with. And then you got to pull that hose back 1.5 inches and it's stiff. This one goes straight on, so I might want to loosen the side one up and then just pull it off as an assembly. Might be easier. I can't get in there because of the muffler. So, what size are they? Are they a 10? That won't fit. Get my pocket full of wrenches out. And the 10's not in my pocket. Alright. It's back in the bucket. Let's see if it's a 10. Pretty much everything's a 10 here. It is. So far, so good. We don't have that much time in this. Under an hour. And I'm right down to nitty gritty here. We got that new water pump, the new gasket. I've got high temp RTV. When you put your RTV on, they want you to put your bolts on and finger tighten them and then wait an hour before you torque them. Because what it does is it squishes all your RTV out. See, this whole clamp fell apart, which is probably good because I can get it out of there. And see if I can slide that forward. I don't know. Oh, baby. Lean on my alarm. Okay. Let me show you what we got. Nothing's easy, right? Not if it's worth doing. Let's get over here. What do we got? Okay. We got this hose. I got this clamp. That sucker's been on there a while, you know. This one fell apart too, so that's alright. We'll take them apart. Let me get some needle nose and we'll get them out of there. Well, what's handy is electrical pliers, because I just used them today. With that, squeeze that clamp. Look at that. Get that right up off of there. Come on, get a little farther. There we go. Alright, so we got the clamp out of the way. Now, we got to see if we can loosen that hose up without damaging it, because it's a special bypass hose. That light's not ideal. Let's see here. The only problem is the way the cord plugs into them. They get wiggled and jiggled. There's nothing to hook on here. Come on. There. Alright. See how much they compressed in? That's going to be tough to get over that. And it's fiber. I don't know if I can warm it up. If I use pliers, it'd probably rip it. Start off with a screwdriver. See the RTV I did on the thermostat about 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Quite a while. Back when I lived in the other house. I had a big workshop there, guys. I built, the original one was 24 by 40, and then I added on to the side. It was a gable. I added on to the side as a lean-to at 14 by 40, the full length, and that's where I put my shop tools. And I had Craftsman benches, those stainless steel top benches with drawers. I had 10 of them. Yeah, they're 4 foot. I had 10 of them along that wall. And then I put a overhead door on, and you could get a car and work on it. And if you had a lower truck, you could have a trailer on and get in there. And then later on, I did another addition off the back, a 16 by 34 across the back. And that I just put lawnmowers and crap in. But I had a lot of room. Now I'm down to sheds and don't have a workshop. Ooh, I felt something moving. Oh, it's not dead. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, yeah. We didn't hurt it. Whew. So now, get this stuff out of the way. We got to do the 10 millimeter. And we'll start off, where are we going to start off? Start off with a nut. We can't, it's got a lower radiator hose on it. So we got to take the lower radiator hose off to get onto the nut. As I get that loose enough, the clamp will slide down out of the way. And I can get a lot of room around this one. I should be able to slide this hose a lot easier. Get it nice and loose. Yep. Hose is down. Now for the clamp. Now we can break that free. You know, let me show you what you should do. Hold on. Got my Sharpie. You like to index your hose, because if you twist it a little bit, it'll be too close to the fan. It'll be too. If you could index it by doing like this, straight up and down, we'll do a line, and then this one we'll do the front. Then I'll put on the pump. Even though we're not using the same pump, I can glance at it. But that way, when I go to twist and get crazy with the hose, I know what angle it was on there, because it will matter. And now that I'm taking this hose off, be an excellent opportunity to put a new one on. But let's check the condition. If it's soft and icky, we have to. But if it's firm, no sense in it. Okay, here's our hose. There's no soft spots. It's firm. Pretty clean inside. It's not rotted. What I was going to say is, I was thinking about cutting this and installing a lower radiator hose heater, engine heater, and that would warm up the radiator, because it's only got the block heater I put in it, and the radiator never gets warm. This is a perfect opportunity to measure that and get the right size. I think it's a 1 7/8 or 1 3/4. So I'll probably do that before I put it back on. And I'm putting an R on the radiator. That way we know. And then, actually I just pushed it right onto the radiator itself, so I know. Simple to put it back. Now let's take off the nut first. And they feel like they're up there about 30 pounds. Probably not that much, but there must be a vent. Never saw a vent on the top side. When I put this water pump in, I had a hard time getting the air bubbles out of it. And I think I opened up the top of the water pump and burped it. It's quite a while ago. But the other thing I did to this engine is it started hard in the winter months, real hard. And so I tested the glow plugs and one was bad. The resistance wasn't right on it. So I bought all 3 new ones, and I went to the dealer and got them. I didn't want to get aftermarket. There's a nut. I did glow plugs, and then the next couple of years after that I did starter. And man, it spun over fast after that. Boy, I didn't realize, probably because the glow plugs were bad, how much you were cranking to get it started. Must be more amperage. Kind of got that thing turning slow. And after I put it in, I'm like, yeah. I'm going to pay attention to these bolts to make sure that I put them in the right order in case they're different lengths. Sometimes you get a real long one. So I'll leave that in there. I feel like 30 pounds. I should get my ratchet out. How come I don't? Let me go grab it. Alright, why didn't you tell me to do that sooner, right? I just want to see how long these bolts are. That looks the same. Sometimes you get a real long one. So let's see what we got here. 1, 2, 3. They're all the same. And then on the other side, it's a little harder to see down in here. Yep, just that cord keeps unplugging. Not a big deal. There we go. And down here we got, I'll move you around this side if you're interested. We got Looks like 2 more here. And then we got the alternator bracket bolt. It's a big one. Okay. These are the same. So they're all the same length. That's good. 1 nut. The rest bolts. Oh, there's 1 more under there. You see that alternator? Yeah, the alternator bracket goes through it. So that looks like a 13. Where's our 13 socket? And let's see if it is 13. It might be 12 because the other one's 12. Yeah, it's 12. I gotta take the adjustment bolt right out, I guess, which is a 12. I don't know how well you can see. This bracket may not slide far enough out of the way. It's got another inch. Maybe it will. Let me loosen this up. Ooh, pretty tight. Let me get the ratchet. Don't want to get rough on the ratchet, on the battery operated. Get over here so I can tug on it. Hi, Tiger. Kitties are out here playing. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh, Raggy. Oh, there's that light. Stop leaning on the wire, will you? Where's the on button? Upside down. Hold on. Technical difficulties here. There. Get this light where we can see something. How about that? Sometimes you gotta heat them up. Oh, you don't want to snap them off. Other times I shock them with a hammer. Yeah, see, that'll slide out of the way. So this won't be in the way. We don't have to take it all the way off. Looks like we got 1 more 10 millimeter and we're ready to pop the water pump off. That's pretty good, right? Be nice if it popped right off, but normally they're glued on. You gotta pry them and mess up and then scrape gasket for a half hour. The new gasket, oh, look at that. The new gasket is really, check the length, that's the same. Really small, so you're only sealing the bottom part. Uh-oh. We're going in my bucket? Pretty much. Bucket's got about 1 gallon in it. Move this over just a little bit. Nice and green, guys. There she be. And it's only that one hole. Gasket stayed on the engine. That's a bummer. So I got to get a gasket scraper. This is a cast iron block, cast iron head, so I don't have to worry about scratching. And let's check out this water pump. Get in there light here.